Yes, my Between the Liners. Welcome back to the Between the Lines podcast. Manchester United have just beaten Newcastle 1-0 at Old Trafford on Boxing Day. I've got the legendary Coach Watson, aka Henry, also in the building with me here today. Henry, what's your initial thoughts?
My initial thoughts are that it did not feel like 3 points.
You know what, Henry? Let's take it a step back, man. How was your Christmas? You have a good Christmas?
Lovely. Fantastic to be around family and
Lovely.
friends, and I haven't seen them in a long while, so it was good to see everybody. So, and I appreciate you asking. Thank you.
Love that. And do you do anything on Boxing Day usually, or it's just a chill one?
Uh, what you might what might come as a surprise to you to know is that I'm fairly a country kid. We have horses here, and so what we'll usually do is we'll usually, as a family, get on the back of some horses and just go for a ride and drink some coffee and just hang out the rest of the day.
Love to hear that, man. And anyone else out there that's celebrating, hope you had a good time as well. And I hope you have a good New Year's if I don't wish it to you later on. As a Muslim myself, I didn't really do anything on Christmas. I was actually flying back to London on the day from
Right,
Pakistan. So,
right.
yeah, I don't know if my best mate wants me to explain the situation or not, but I'll let him come on YouTube and say that himself one day. But yeah,
There you go.
I, I didn't really do much. I never really done much on Christmas, but I hope everyone enjoyed it nonetheless. Shout out Lorenz in the live chat. Shout out everyone in the chat or everyone that's going to be watching throughout the stream. Make sure you get your questions and your comments in. Lorenz said, "Big up Adnan, big up my guy Lorenz. Soon to be dropping the Legends League award show out soon, so you're going to see more of Lorenz in that hopefully as well." But Henry, let's crack on anyway. As I was saying, your initial thoughts on the game, bit of a weird one.
Really, I mean, from what we've seen starting in August with this manager, is we are not a 90-minute football team. And it was clear as day, I thought, against Bournemouth, clear as day, right? Couldn't even finish 45 minutes and allow them to be able to get one back right there before halftime, even more so today. I can remember, I think, Sheshko's shot in the second half that hit the crossbar. I think that's really the only time that we looked threatening.
Other than that, maybe Cunha ran through at one point and shot with his left foot, but that's a half chance
Was
if that.
12
Yeah,
meters wide. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
you can hardly call that an opportunity. He had
yeah,
runners either side of
yeah,
him,
yeah.
but he's still got that Wolves mentality of, you know what, I'm gonna put it on my back and I'm gonna go out there and do something. Which it's fine. Don't get me wrong. However, soccer IQ, you have to know where you're at in the game. Play, get it out wide. Either get a good cross in, or have them take it to the corner. We rotate it back to the half, and we go to the other side. Game management. But did not see much of that in the second 45.
Yeah, overall, I know we've got the 3 points, and I feel like there's a bit of a divide in the fan base at the moment. I think there's one side that is kind of fed up with Amrim and they've seen enough in terms of results and performance to suggest that he should be gone regardless. There's another side that I think are trying to be optimistic and want to give Amrin a bit more time. But
Where
and
do you sit
say
on that?
I sit on the side that I think I always try to stick up for the club, the managers, the players, and give them as much time as possible. I've always been on that side. But when it's come to Amrim, I'm surprisingly pretty, I would say early on for my usual thinking. I would say I'm Amrim out because I haven't seen enough from him. And for me, it's just like I've learned my lesson from the past. I could be blindly optimistic as I have done throughout most of my life as a United fan, but it's got to the point where the realism has kicked in now. The optimism has gone because
Gone.
I can't afford to be this emotionally invested in supporting a manager blindly when he's so clearly shown he's out of depth.
Yep.
And we're saying that on the back of a 1-0 win. And I feel like if there were some United fans watching this, they'll probably think, oh, it's just toxic United fans, negativity. When usually I'm on the other side of it as toxic positivity, to be honest. But
Right. Right. And both are exhausting. Both are
exhausting.
exhausting, especially because this football club will give us moments where we're like, okay, we're back and we're going in the
Mm,
right direction. And then
yeah.
we'll have games where we automatically just don't look like we've never played football before in our life. It's so confusing. And I feel that's what has created this rift is that we do have moments where we see the positives that Amarin can bring, but I'd say that there's probably 75 minutes every single game where, especially whenever me and you are chatting, we are just so confused as to the thought process behind all this. So it's very difficult to be Amorim in, Amorim out, at least a couple weeks ago. But right now, I'm firmly in the belief of there's got to be something more productive out there.
Yeah, I agree with you. But let's take a step back, Henry, and let's look at the game. Before this game started, we were quite surprised to see that, or as the game started, we were quite surprised to see that it turned out it was a back four, which I believe is the first time he started with a back four in his Manchester United career. I don't know if he's ever done that at Sporting before. We also had Lee Chart as captain, which I was really happy for him.
Absolutely.
Because he's had such a torrid time with injuries in the last couple of years.
Yep.
I think a lot of United fans will agree where we've all been fans of him whenever he's played. And I was a bit concerned whether he could ever reach the levels that he had pre-injury. But today, we can get into shortly, but he showed signs that that player is firmly still there and is capable of getting back to the levels that he could have reached pre-injury as well. So really happy for him on a personal note as captain. We saw Shaw at left back. We saw Heaven at right centre back. We saw Dallo at right back. And then we saw Dorgu at right wing, which we can get into. We'll get into very shortly. How do you feel about Amorim finally changing to get the back four in? And after I think he said even the Pope couldn't change his mind on the formation. So he's finally got someone in. But yeah,
it's my mother.
That's fine. Tell her I said hi. Hope she had a good Christmas.
And Scooter.
So as far as, where do we even start with Dorgu? Where do we start? We can't say, did you see it coming?
I didn't, but then did you see pre-match? I think a day or two ago, he said that he might have to consider changing his formation because of the players going to AFCON.
And I'm happy for him finally saying that, okay, we're going to change things. I hate that it takes the fact that we're going to lose a lot of our core players for him to finally change, because that just means what happens when they come back. All right, we're back to the 3-4-3. Awesome. Sweet. But that can't happen. We showed really good success in that first 45 minutes of having our pivot of Casemiro and Ugarte with Mason Mount as at number 10. Unfortunately, came off at halftime with possibly an injury. We'll see what Amorim says afterwards. But at the end of the day, I think, especially if you want, did you see any of the pregame kind of footage around the stadium of the United defenders warming up in a back three?
I saw that and I was really glad by that, actually. Some kind of tactics to deceive the opposition.
Right. It kind of seems like he's starting to realize that he can start implementing a lot of his philosophy and how he wants his teams to play, not dependent on a certain formation. Mm-hmm. I think we kind of mentioned that in our last conversation a week or two ago, that we were really worried about him because he had so much trust in that one formation to get his philosophy of the game out. Whereas now I think he's finally realizing that, I don't have the players for this, but we can still play the kind of football that I want to play, but in a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-2-4, as it sometimes turned into. So good for him on finally having a little bit of self-composure to say, okay, maybe things need to change on my end. But also I kind of hate that we had to lose 3 to 4 players for him to even consider it 18 months into his tenure.
We also had to lose about 30 games for him to get to this position.
Yeah, that was our second clean sheet this season.
Incredible. I can't believe it.
Incredible.
It's awful. Yeah, awful record, to be honest. 2 clean sheets out of 18 games, I think?
18 games, 2 clean sheets.
Shocking.
Since Lemons has come in, we've conceded 17 goals.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think behind it, Nonano probably would have done worse still.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Right. Granted, but there's a lot of times today, and even the Bournemouth game, where he saved us the last 10 minutes, right? Same thing kind of today. He did well to claim crosses and slow the game down, but we couldn't touch the ball for more than 5 minutes in the second half. I don't know what the tweak was that changed everything, but either Eddie Howe did a great job with his adjustments, or we did a really poor job keeping the energy high throughout that 15-minute break.
Me and you were speaking off camera, and we were saying how we're so bad after the first 50 minutes, at least, of the second half. I even researched up the stats, and it turns out we've conceded the most goals in our team this season in that first period of coming out of the second half and in the last 15 minutes of each game. So that was almost proven today, except for the fact that we didn't concede. But Newcastle were all over us in that whole second half. We've got a chat from our good mate from the States, from Detroit.
Hey,
RSV7, shout out RSV7. Hope you had a good Christmas. Luck was on our side today, specifically the second half, but it is long overdue because we had a couple of great performances this season, but didn't get all 3 points like last week versus Villa. And I think that's a fair point. You know, I do feel like we've been quite unlucky in a lot of games. Does that
I agree.
sound facetious to say? I don't know.
I mean, I think it's, as a fan, it doesn't sound too facetious, but if you're neutral, of course we probably sound crazy.
By the
I'm
way,
sure.
that's the first time in my life I've ever used the word facetious. Did I use that correct?
Hey, look at us increasing our vocabulary over the holidays. God, we're going to end 2025 on such a good note, man.
I don't even know where that came from, bro. I hope that's using the correct way. But yeah, I do think.
No, absolutely correct. It's really difficult to put that all because unlucky is such a strange word.
Yeah.
Right? Because I mean, we could have been unlucky if VAR was on some kind of bullshit today and decided that yes, Leach's arms were too far out, and they could have given it. Right? I think to his point, there have been a couple games where those decisions have gone against us.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas today we finally rode that luck and got out of it. But if that is a blueprint for us moving forward through these festive fixtures up until February,
probably be worried. Yeah. So let's take it back to where we started. The formation changed, and then we can go through the game in like chronological order. We had a Casemiro header early on, which me and you both said he probably should have scored. I was quite surprised. He missed it so badly that I thought the ball was too high for him. But then when I watched it back, I thought I'm quite surprised he didn't get that on target because he's usually quite good in there as well.
Looked to me that he was expecting some kind of pressure, so he jumped early to try to beat pressure, but he realized he had nobody on him. So as soon as he started to fall down, he didn't meet the ball at the height that he needed to. Just came off the top of his head. And you expect that Casemiro, for the goal scoring that he's done this season, you expect him to finish that.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what your coverage was saying, but then Gary Neville picked out that Rams. Did you have Gary Neville as well?
No, we had Peter Drury and Lee Dixon today.
Nice.
I think.
Nice.
I think.
That's fine. I don't know if they picked out on your coverage that there was one point in the first 10 or 12 minutes, I believe, where Ramsdale went down. Yeah, and Eddie Howe was changing tactics, and he was feigning injury basically to get his tactics across. Did you notice that?
I did, because after that 10 minutes, we didn't have the ball for another 15 until we got the corner to score.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, that's really well done down to Eddie is switching his midfield triangle. That's all he did. Instead of having two up top to mark Casemiro and Ugarte, he just decided to just switch that, have two going against Mason Mount, outnumber him, and then they can just move up in that triangle and just beat Casemiro and Ugarte, which we saw Lewis Miley walk through them, find a ball out to Jacob Murphy, who, thank you, Delo, did well to delay him and allow help to get back. Yep. You had even Lewis Hall walk through Casemiro and Ugarte challenges, finding Voltamata, who flicked it around the corner, and for Jacob Murphy again. So it's one of those things where, is it really our defense that is causing a lot of these clean sheets to not happen? Or is there a lot more responsibility to be put onto the shoulders of our midfield players?
Yeah, which you could ultimately put down to the manager's system, because there's two of them most times and there's a big gap. But also the players individually have to look at themselves. Casemiro obviously can't cover as much ground as he used to. Ugarte's a bit of a headless chicken, doesn't really have the right state of mind to know what to do, the right football IQ to know when and where to run and when to tackle, etc. Just saying that, I actually thought Ugarte was decent today, actually.
Yeah, I'd give him a solid 6.5.
Yeah, about 6.5. Yeah,
for his first half. His first half was much better. Granted, everybody's second half was god awful.
Yeah,
but I think that there were a lot of moments. I didn't even think we spoke about it off camera during the game, of the fact that he did really well to win the ball, But a lot of the times, as soon as it was time for him to move it onward and to keep possession, he didn't.
Yeah, he just hasn't got that in him, to be honest.
And it's really
So
confusing because you
yeah,
work with Casemiro day in, day out. And his job and what he does really well, clean the ball up and get it to our center backs.
yeah, agreed.
Sometimes he'll find that splitting pass, sometimes, but it's usually to Bruno Fernandes, who can take the ball under control on the turn. Where Mount could kind of do it here and there, but his touch was a little loose today, and it might have been because
Yeah.
he was feeling that injury.
Mm. Well, yeah, we'll wait to see if he's actually injured or if that's tactical. But I would imagine he's probably injured
I,
because he brought
I'd
on
hope
Jack
so.
Fletcher at halftime. Yeah,
Yeah, I'd hope so. I mean, I get it, wanting to get the academy kids some minutes, but
yeah,
not at halftime.
yeah. That would be pretty crazy. I think one thing that bugged me almost by Eddie Howe changing his tactics within the first 10 to 12 minutes was just an example of how Amorim doesn't do the same and how he hasn't adapted. Granted, he started the game with four defenders today, but it's taken him a year to do that. Whereas you see his opposite number changing the game or his tactics within 10 to 12 minutes, just shows how incapable Amorim is of adapting to a game state or to a team. For example, we're always usually playing the same formation. I'm not necessarily saying the same formation either, but there could be tweaks within his system, within that formation, game to game, depending on who you're playing. And we haven't really seen much of that until recently, which is a shame. But I guess I can't be too critical of that because he is doing that now.
I mean, you can absolutely be critical about it. If this was 6 months into his tenure, right? Maybe not too critical, and we weren't at all. But
Yeah.
now, I mean, it's been 18 months, and you're now just starting to change and realize that, oh, maybe I need to change. I mean, I get having confidence in your own self belief and and how you want to play, and that works at a club like Sporting.
Yeah.
That works at a club like Dortmund. That works at a club like Villa, right? It's not going to work for us, especially at the position that we are now. We're not the United anymore, where people change their way of play to try to combat us. They don't do that anymore because they know that they can play their style of football against us and
Yeah.
probably win, right? Whereas now he's starting to realize that, okay, in order for me to win matches, I have to do something different. And it took him 18 months to do it. So I guess good for him for realizing it. But at the end of the day, I still think it's a little too late.
Do you think I've seen some talk on Twitter? Some of the fans are saying that this is down to the pressure of the board having to tell him, look, you need to change, otherwise your job's gone. How do you feel about that? Do you think it's probably that, or do you think it's just a manager making his own decisions and he's finally done?
That's a phenomenal question. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who I used to coach with in Houston, Texas. Really good guy. Um,
United fan or
he's a United fan, absolutely.
love that?
I told him
Love
I
that.
gave him the link for him to hop on, and hopefully he does to at least hop in the chat. Um, we had a conversation back in the day that we were really excited that whenever Amorim was having issues with Garnacho and Rashford, the board came out and publicly backed Amorim, right? And they said that he's going to be our guy moving forward. They're not showing any kind of favoritism towards the players at all,
Mhm.
and I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that because I don't want any dickheads in our dressing room either.
Of
I
course.
don't. You can't function that way. City don't do it. Liverpool are starting to kind of have the issue,
Mm.
but not too much from the past. And don't really. I think that's really good from our board of directors to come out and put all of their backing on him, whether they already think that they're going to be replacing him in 6 months or not. Really important for these players to recognize that, oh, if I go above the manager's head, I'm not going to be taken care of.
Mhm.
And I think that's really important for us as a fan base to continue to back this manager because at least the board have shown a lot of faith in him as well.
Yeah.
And so for now, I'm okay with it. But at the end of the day, if there is pressure coming from the board, it's completely in the right spot because he has to win football games. He has to.
But don't you think if they're having to change the manager, it's already starting off badly
Horrible.
because
Yeah.
yeah, your manager should be doing what he's good at and what he knows rather than the board who have never been managers themselves having to tell their manager what he should actually be doing.
Exactly. And I think probably one of the big things that our previous managers have had are those head-to-head confrontations with our board.
Mhm.
Mostly Wilcox and a couple of and Woodward and everybody like that who were bankers. they're bankers. They had no soccer, they had no football IQ, no nothing, and they were running it like a bank. And I feel INEOS are still kind of doing that. Right? I get it. We've brought in a couple of guys for CEO, Barada from City, who did a fantastic job for them over the past 6 years. 115 charges, right?
Yeah.
But still, at the end of the day, you're always going to have pressure from your board, especially if you have so few wins and so few clean sheets and so much money spent to bring in the players to fit your system, and we still see this crap every week.
Yeah, I just want to push back a little bit, Henry, if you don't mind. I do think INEOS have tried to get the right people in place. Barada has football background. Wilcox has football background with City.
I like Jason.
Yeah, there was, who else did they get? Who's the guy? Brailsford has sporting background at least.
Yeah.
So they've kind of steered away from the bankers per se and have tried to put the best people in class in position. But unfortunately, doesn't seem to have paid off yet. But I honestly think it will take a lot longer than the 2 seasons that they've been here for us to see enough of what they can provide in that club.
Yeah,
from a
that's
player,
that's a 5-year thing.
Yeah, and also I think from a player signing perspective, I do agree with most of the signings they've made, except maybe Ugarte. Maybe Dorgu you might question, but he was young, he was cheap, so I don't know.
I mean, and he had, for being out of position today, I thought he put in an amazing shift.
Yeah,
and so good for him.
Yeah, let's talk about it. He scored the goal. It was a great goal. It was great contact on the strike. He had a lot of time to think about it and run towards it. He still managed to get great contact on it. And did you think the keeper should have saved it?
I mean, if you watch the replay in slow motion from behind the goal, you can clearly tell that Ramsdale is looking up and around to see who is running onto the ball, and he sees Ugarte running at it, and he sees Dorgu running the opposite way. He has no idea really who's going to hit it. So as soon as it's struck with such power, it's already at him as the time he's trying to dive to it. He does get a hand on it though.
Yeah, he does get a hand on it. It's not really a strong enough hand to keep it out. He kind of palms it into his own net.
Once you get as a goalkeeper, well, I can't say as a goalkeeper. However, having my goalkeeper training sessions, whenever you are at full extension, it's really, really difficult to keep that wrist so strong to keep a ball like that out. I mean, you might have your likes of De Gea and your Donnarummas who have that wrist strength just from repetition. But a lot of keepers don't put reps in like that to prevent those kind of goals from going in. So I'm not too surprised it went in off of his hand. Thankfully we took the opportunity when we took it, and 1-0 at the end of the day is a clean sheet. We'll take it.
Yeah, fair enough. Dorgu did get great contact on it, like we said. It had fairly decent amount of power in it, and Ramsdale was a bit unsighted as well. And like you were saying, I thought Dorgu had a pretty good game. I think that's the first time we've seen him out on the right wing. Maybe we saw him in a preseason game there once. I might be wrong on that.
I think we did, but in a right wing back role.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. But yeah, he looked like a threat. He almost looked like a light version of Amad Diallo.
I agree. I mean, you saw that he had a beautiful cross to Šeško, who could have laid it off first time to Cunha. But still, I mean, he did really well to not just stick with one foot and always cut into his left. He did really well to pull. Lewis Hall was on that left side.
Yeah.
He did really well to make him guess if he was going to cut to the end line or if he was going to cut inside. I thought it was a good opponent for us to get a sense of what this kid is going to do for us moving forward.
One thing you can't fault him for is his desire to work hard for the team. He's always getting stuck in. He's throughout 90 minutes or whenever he's on the pitch, you see him running up and down, putting in a shift, trying to get the ball back. And I feel like he sets the tone for what the rest of the team should be. Him, Mount is another example of that. They set the tone for what the rest of the team should be doing. And it's a shame that we're relying on a 21-year-old new signing from last season from Italy to come in and do that. But I respect him for that. I rate him for that a lot. And he stands up for himself. He's not a coward like some of the other past United players have been. So fair play to Dorgu. And I think we were shown a touch map of Dorgu throughout the game, and he was all over the pitch actually. So Fair
I mean,
play
he
to him.
finished the last 20 minutes out on the left. So yeah.
Yeah, fair play to Dorgu. You did well.
Proud of him.
So
Very,
yeah,
very, very
proud of him. Definitely
Yeah.
proud of him. Happy for him. So
Yeah.
shout out everyone in the live that are watching live as well. I think there's 5 of you on YouTube right now. I think we're live on Twitch as well. Can't see how many of you are there. Get in the live chat if you've got any thoughts as well. So before we scored the goal, it was pretty even, I'd say. Then we scored the goal, and I think we had a good spell of about 15-20 minutes, or maybe up until half time. Newcastle, Newcastle actually looked a bit shaky actually after we scored. We were kind of sitting in their half without really creating many chances in the rest of the first half. I don't remember anything unless you do.
I mean, we had a few moments where we had an overload. Cunha running straight down, had an easy pass either over to Mount or over to Šeško, and it just played it a little bit too hard for Šeško.
Yeah.
You made a really good point that a lot of the times now that we're missing Bruno, we're making the easy pass, not really the smart pass. Yeah. And we saw that with that moment there. And even if Šeško, whenever he does go and gets it, you get your head up. Mount was wide open, acres of space in the back post, and didn't lift it into him. That's an easy ball. I mean, that is such an easy ball, just to dink it over to that back post. Yes, the goalkeeper might come out and claim it. Okay. But worst comes to worst, it finds Mount's chest, and it goes in the back of the net. But at the end of the day, other than those couple moments,
yeah, but we were still on the front foot, I'd like to think. And I guess it's a recurring theme at this point, especially if we do score first in the first half. We tend to stay on the front foot throughout the rest of the first half. And then the second half comes, and as we've mentioned already in the video, we pretty much dominated throughout the whole second half. We came out slow, which is something that you mentioned on WhatsApp that you didn't want to see happen, and it happened.
It does every time.
What do you think it is? What do you think it is at this point, Henry, man?
You know, I would love anything and everything to put it on Ruben. That'd be really easy for us to sit here and do, because he's the one giving those kind of talks during the halftime break. But I think it also has to come a lot from the people who are sitting in the locker room, looking around at each other and trying to pick each other up and keep going in that second half. But I feel like we get into the halftime break, we grab our fluids, we grab everything, we exhale, and we don't even get up and get out of the locker room for the second half. And that's what it felt like. They had 75% possession in the second half.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
75% possession in the second half. At Old Trafford.
Yeah, that's
we ended the game with 2 attackers on the field, with Cunha and Xerxes.
Wow.
I mean, sure, you could count the Fletcher kid as an attacker, sure, but he's mostly a midfielder who tends to be better as an 8, at least in his time at the academy. And I'm all for protecting a 1-0 lead.
But that's bad.
If we score in the 80th minute. You know, not whenever we've had the lead for 60, 70 minutes. Like that I get the Portuguese in him and the Jose in him. I get it. I see the vision, but we don't have the players to protect a 1-goal lead, and we've seen that plenty.
The thing is, I don't even know, is it the manager that's sitting back? I know he brings on so many defenders, which we can get into, but is he telling them, I want you guys to sit back and hold on to this lead? Because if he is, that's pretty crazy, because we don't really hold on to leads. So I don't know. Is it the players?
I don't think he is.
Fall into default? Yeah.
I hope he isn't. And that's probably one of the most difficult talking points for people like you and I to have, because we're nowhere near that dressing room.
Yeah.
And he will never tell us, ever. The board won't ever come out and tell us. A player better not come out and tell us. Hopefully we got rid of those guys that do that.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not going to put myself into hot water saying that, yeah, it's him or yeah, it's them. I think it has to come down. It has to come down to the club and that group of 15 players that are on the squad.
Something that is really, or was really frustrating today, I think, was his substitutions. When he took off Casemiro, even Casemiro looked bemused. Yeah. Did you see his look in the face? He looked shocked. And I
was pissed.
Yeah, I didn't really get it, because I actually thought sometimes you can see Casemiro visibly looks unfit and can't continue. But he looked all right today. He was pretty solid within that little 10-yard space around where he was. He was holding it together with Ugarte. They looked okay positionally, sitting back wise. Obviously, we couldn't get out of a half, but he looked okay. And then obviously he took off Sesko just as he'd hit the bar, immediately got subbed off. And I get it, Xerxes was already warming up, he was ready. But in that moment when your striker, you paid 65 odd million for him, pounds, surely you want him to get his confidence up. You'd think that hitting the bar, you'd think, yeah, maybe he gets the ball next time. He might have another shot that might be on target. He might get a goal.
Right.
And
Right.
you're only 1-0 up. He's your star forward signing at this point, alongside Mbeumo Cunha, of course, but the number 9 position. And then he took him off.
Yeah.
I thought that was really strange.
I would like to put it under the category of managing minutes.
Yeah.
He was out there for a few games, for a few weeks.
Yeah.
So, but you can't hide behind that. You can't hide behind that, because I think we could have gotten a solid 70 minutes, 75 minutes out of him. It didn't seem like he was slowing down. Sure, there were a couple of groans from the crowd whenever some of our long balls would seemingly be really close to him and he really wouldn't put the effort to go and chase him down, which could be a fitness thing. I don't know. But yeah, it was the substitutions the past 18 games have been very confusing.
Yeah.
And I don't, because like Martinez had 85 minutes of phenomenal football for us. You really don't think he could last us another 10 minutes and get another 10 minutes into
I
his
thought
tank?
that was incredibly strange, bro. I get it. You're trying to manage his minutes. He's just come back from injury, but bro, he's just had a great 85 minutes, especially the second half. Defending his box, he was unbelievable. Especially
You wouldn't have thought
considering
he's 5'6", 5'8".
I was just about to say that he was winning headers against Walter even in the first half, which I thought was incredible. Walter is like 6'8" or whatever he is.
Peter Crouch, yeah, I know. Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
I thought he was sensational. And to take him off in the 85th minute was such a risk. And not only that, to take off Shaw as well from Malacia, who's part of the bomb squad, and then to bring off Fredrickson as well, who I haven't seen. I forgot he was even at United still.
I thought we loaned him out. If we're loaning out Harry Amos, I thought Fredrickson was gone too. I honestly.
Yeah,
but
I don't blame you. But to take off the 2 senior players in the 85th minute when we're clearly dying and desperately clinging on to the lead, I thought was an incredible decision. I'm not sure. Can we praise the manager to say it paid off because we did hold on to the lead? I don't understand.
That's I'm gonna say
I don't know.
I'm gonna go back to our Detroit gentleman's comment and say that we rode our luck. We got lucky today, and we were successful with that luck, thankfully. But if any other Newcastle team had shown up today, that's a completely different game.
Yeah, and they did have a few chances, not too many great chances. I think Gordon dragged one wide.
Yeah. He had a couple of really good crosses. Jacob, no, not Murphy.
Murphy? I think it was Jacob Murphy.
I think it was Jacob Murphy put in a couple of really good crosses.
Yeah.
But I think really what came down to it was we didn't really prevent them from getting into the wide spaces. This time, I felt that we were really well structured with dealing with crosses into the box. We're in general, the past couple of weeks, every time I see the ball go out wide, I see at least 2 or 3 options for the winger to be able to find a cross. And it just makes my heart go into my throat. But today, it felt a little bit different. It felt like we had a lot more composure when it comes to defending those kind of passing lanes into the 6-yard box and into the 18-yard box. But as I said, I think we got a little lucky.
I agree with you in terms of stopping crosses as well. Mostly throughout that game, we did
control. Aiden Heaven was awesome.
Really good.
Really good. Very good scouting from us. And thank you, Arsenal, for letting him go.
Only £1 million. What a deal. And I don't know in your coverage who got man in the match in your coverage. Do you know?
Could not tell you.
Okay. Gary Neville kept repeating Aiden Heaven for the last 20 minutes actually, and I think he gave.
I'd say so. Who else would you give it to?
Personally, I would have given it to Martinez or Dorgu. I thought Heaven was really good, but I thought
Heaven was really good. I mean, Dorgu's not a bad bet. I mean, he does get the goal. Granted, he almost did get an own goal.
Yeah.
But I mean, Dorgu was really good on and off the ball all day. You said he was tenacious. He definitely gave us that Mount energy, which was really nice to have, especially when we lost Mount. And I think a lot of the issue in the second half came from not having the engine in front of Casemiro and Ugarte in the form of Mason Mount. And it just let them keep the ball. Sesko couldn't hold it up because Fletcher was nowhere near him because he had to keep going back, play left back with Luke Shaw because Miley just kept running up and Cunha didn't want to do anything to defend. So I think losing Mount and Bruno now, probably for the next game, is going to be really difficult because we'll have to play that Fletcher game.
Yeah. So one thing that really bugs me about Amorim is why he loves playing players out of their position. Today he played Euro at right back, which I thought was strange. He played Dallo at right mid. He played Dorgu at right mid. He played Heaven at right CB, despite being left-footed.
Yeah.
And obviously throughout the whole season, he's played Ahmad right wing back and numerous other players right wing back or right and left 10, whatever you want to call it. And it really bugs me about his positional management. Just play players where they're actually playing, where they've played their whole lives, is personally what I'd prefer.
I completely agree. And I mean, but you look at it, kind of goes back to the whole thing of he's starting to realize that he can play his philosophy not solely because he's playing in one formation, right? He clearly really likes to have an inverted winger that can cut in and create space out wide for his wing back, or today our outside back Dallo, to be able to get around and create crosses, which is why I can understand why you put a left-footed player over there, which the only left-footed player that we had available is Dorgu.
Yeah.
So kind of having that hindsight, it's kind of easy to see where he went with that. Granted, we got lucky; it worked. But there was a lot of times in that first half where Dorgu did a really good job pushing the back line of Newcastle back and allowing Dalot to get up and go around by him cutting inside to his left foot. So I can see his philosophy starting to remain consistent, but I'm happy to now see that it doesn't have to rely on that 3-4-3 to see that philosophy come out.
Yeah, I'm glad he's finally adapting. Henry, let's go through the starting lineup and give our thoughts on a player by player basis.
Yeah.
I thought Lamens, firstly, I thought he had a really good game. Came out and claimed loads of crosses.
Lots of crosses.
Lots of crosses, yeah, especially late on as well, when normally the past two keepers we had at least, or maybe three even sometimes, they would have spilled it or they would have parried it into a full opposition player, which he almost did actually to Joe Linton.
Yeah. But granted, he caught that ball above Ultimata. I mean, and he came down with the ball and his arms wrapped around him. So I can see how he dropped it. Thankfully, it went between their legs and he fell on it. Yeah. But I mean, you look at the likes of having Bindier and Onana, our confidence with crosses has changed completely because we now know that we have a keeper that if it's too high and it's too lofted, he's going to come out and collect it. And that, for me, calms me down a lot.
I feel really safe with Lamens in the team. Even when he gets a ball to his feet, he doesn't always go for the short pass. Sometimes he goes for the long pass, but I don't mind that.
I don't mind it.
He makes a sensible decision most of the time. And I feel...
And he's 23?
Yeah, exactly.
23 and doesn't have a lot of audacity or ego to him. He's just very much in between his sticks for 90 minutes, in between here for 90 minutes, and we finally got him a clean sheet, and I'm happy for that. I put it like a 7.5, 8. Now that he got the clean sheet at the end, I'm happy with it.
I'm happy to give him an 8 out of 10. I'm really looking forward to his future and to see him fulfill his potential. He's started off pretty well as a United keeper.
I agree.
Or the number of goals he's conceded, which aren't all down to him, of course. There's not many mistakes he's made in his United career so far. Is it maybe 2 or 3? I think free kick that went in once.
Maybe a couple of instances, but I mean, I would have literally loved to have seen him save Morgan Rogers' second goal against Villa. It was close enough to him where he could have gotten a hand to it, I feel.
Yeah.
But I'm not in between the sticks. I'm going to stay right here on the screen.
Yeah, so far overall happy with Lamens. Dallo, I don't know. He was okay, I guess. Did he even do anything?
Yeah, he blasted one over the bar when he was 1-on-1 with Ramsdale, and he could have just played it into the back of the
No
net.
composure. No
It's
composure.
it's 2-0. We're cruising. Me and you are having a different conversation at this point,
Yeah, for
right?
real,
And
man.
we're laughing, we're having a great time. Whereas 5.5,
It's a great,
6.
great pass from Martinez, by the way.
Oh, we know he's got it in his
Yeah,
locker. Yeah,
yeah.
that wasn't surprising at all. I was just
That
surprised Delo had a good touch off his chest.
yeah, same actually.
I mean,
He got twisted up at one point by Gordon as well. Was all over the place on the floor.
and thankfully he had Dorgu back there
Yeah,
to support him. Thank
yeah.
God. But I
You
mean,
you need two players in Dallo's position to back him up.
and that is just, and we've had this kid for how long now?
Maybe
And somehow he's
7 years,
surviving all
6.
these managers.
Yeah, yeah.
He's
And
got
you
to
actually
be.
made a point last time that he's better on the left, and I think you're proving right again today because he was on the right hand side today and he didn't really have a good game.
He didn't do much at all, much
Yeah,
at all. And I think that I don't know what it comes down to. I really believe that it's the fact that he's given so much more 1v1 space whenever he's on the left, because all these all these outside backs are going to want to push him onto his left foot, and
yeah.
he's good enough 1v1 to beat you for pace.
Mhm.
Whereas on the right hand side, they know they just got to push him down towards the end line. He's going to whip across him. Right? It's just he's predictable Delo at that point. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'd give him like a 5.6, maybe a 6.
Heaven and Martinez. By the way, sorry, I'll give Dallo a 4 before I move on. Just for the sake that he's crap in it.
I mean,
Uh,
I would love to see him go.
yeah.
But apparently him
Um,
and Amorim are somehow related. And I'm just like, oh great. So Uncle Amorim's about to play this kid the next 38 match weeks. Awesome.
Look, I don't wish injury on any player, but he's also always fit, bro. Like the guys at the right back versions of Bruno Fernandes, obviously not ability wise, but
I mean,
availability wise.
and you honestly, that is impressive.
Yeah.
That part is impressive, and I'll give him his flowers for that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, get him gone in the summer.
Yeah,
Get
Heaven
him
and
gone.
Martinez, I think we've mentioned already for both of them, especially Martinez, I thought personally,
Yeah,
great game. Heaven,
great game. I mean,
young guy, solid.
there were a lot of moments where both Aiden and Martinez did such a good job with breaking the press.
Yeah.
Whether it was with a pass, but a lot of the time it was with like some kind of body movement that forced the striker to miss his tackle, and they were just able to advance it up the midfield. And I think that we struggle to see that with Maguire and De Ligt.
Mhm.
I feel we really do struggle to see that, and we're starting to struggle to see that with Euro, especially ever since he gave away that penalty. I feel he hasn't had that kind of confidence that we saw in the first few match weeks.
Agreed.
Um, but I think with the composure that those two had today, and we can see that continuously, keep them back there, keep that partnership.
I love Heaven's confidence, especially it kind of grows game by game. You can see
Yeah.
him running a bit more forward with the ball. You can see him trying another pass between the lines. I love it, man.
What I really liked today, there was a moment where um, Voltamata flicked the ball with the outside of his boot, beating Aiden, finding Murphy, and Murphy beats, I think it was Shaw, and has an opportunity to run up and try to shoot the ball. But Aiden does a great job moving off of his mark and just stuffing it. And I think that now that he's been getting more and more game time, we're going to see his football IQ just continue to show. And I'm happy for him. I'm proud for him.
Agreed. Moving on to left back for the first time in a while, it seems. Luke Shaw finally back at left back. I've personally been quite critical of Luke Shaw, despite how many games he actually has played. I just think my only criticism of him is his lack of availability for so long in the past and his inability to probably, I thought he wouldn't be able to progress the ball up the pitch or move his body up the pitch as he could in the past. But I actually thought he surprised me today. He was up and down that left side quite often, especially in the first half. Obviously, the team was sat back in the second half, but in the first half, I thought he looked pretty mobile. Maybe his end product wasn't quite great, as sometimes he can put a decent cross in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I thought I was quite impressed by Luke Shaw today, especially in terms of fitness.
I think that it kind of comes back to the piece of you saying that Amorim loves to play these players out of position. He had just spent 17 match weeks playing a left-sided center back,
Mhm.
which I'm sure whenever he was moving to United did not want to play that position at all,
Yeah.
right? And so he's finally able to move back to a position where he grew up playing. It probably, I think that kind of added adrenaline helped him get up and down that field, which is why I think he just ran out of gas and hit a wall and forced Amorim to bring him off. That's kind of my thinking because he's not used to that the past 17 weeks. So, but no, as you said, awesome to have him up there bombing up and down. Would love to see a little bit more composure with his crosses, but I think that that'll kind of continue as we get better with whatever formation we're going to be moving forward with. So we'll see. I'd
And
give him a solid 8, 7.5.
I'll give him a 7. Yeah, I think he was solid, and yeah, happy to see him playing back at left back, and I'm sure hopefully we can see him continue at left back or
I hope
left
so
wing
too.
back even. Yeah.
Yeah.
Casemiro, I think, was pretty solid. Didn't really make too many mistakes. I'd
Mhm.
put Ugarte and Casemiro in the same bracket today, actually.
I would
Around the
put
6 out of 10.
yeah,
Maybe.
6.5. I'd go as far as saying that if Casemiro gets a full 90 minutes, we probably rank him a little bit higher.
Agreed.
But I think that I'm going to sound really crazy, but I did like in that first half his partnership with Ugarte. I thought it showed so much more structure in front of our back four. Granted, I did mention that there was plenty of times where they got beat on their tackles way too easy. But at the end of the day, did we concede a goal? No. Right? What did it seem like we had some kind of organization in the midfield? Yeah. Right. And I think it kind of comes down to we finally had 2 defensive-minded midfielders in front of a back four instead of having 1 defensive-minded midfielder in front of 3 defenders who just got stretched constantly. And so I liked what I saw from him. I wish he got 90 minutes. I thought he had it in the tank. But as we mentioned earlier, he seemed a little confused that it was him coming off.
Yeah, 60th minute as well, when he seemed like he had a bit more left in the tank. Just
Yeah.
to add to your point, we had the 2 midfielders in front of the back four, and also we had Mount slightly ahead of him, slightly
Right.
ahead of both of them, helping out
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Dorgu, who we've mentioned, I think was one of his best games in United shirt. A lot of tenacity, as you said. Got the goal, of course. We need to add
Great
anything
finish.
more? Great finish.
Great finish. I mean, I'm not saying that I want to see him in a forward position the rest of the season, but as far as needing that kind of depth in these positions at the moment that we desperately need, did a great job today.
Yeah, he's given us a bit of life and a bit of confidence to believe in him now in a forward position.
I was surprised at his speed.
Yeah.
He was unbelievable. He was lightning quick across 6 yards.
Yeah.
Rapid. I mean, his top speed's not spectacular. I mean, Lewis Hall was able to catch up to him a couple times.
Yeah.
But his acceleration is insane, the way he can cover ground so quickly. So, I mean, I hope it means that he gets a start next game week. But time will tell. I think he did a great job. I would give him the man of the match, just personally. But other than that, great job, kid.
Definitely. Mount, I thought he was a bit loose in the first half, to be honest. Not one of his better games. A few nice flicks here and there with Cunha. Nice, decent link up, but was a bit ineffective, actually, I thought.
I think so, too. There was a lot of moments where I was screaming at my television for him to slide that a pass into Sesko's feet, who had pulled off of the center back really well, but just had his entire body facing one direction, just didn't turn his head. I think a lot of pressure was put on him in the locker room to find those kind of what we would consider Bruno passes, break lines, and a lot of that. And I think that played too much on his brain and forced him to overplay a little bit, where I think he just needed to continue to do what he had been doing the past month and just be tenacious, find your simple pass, and then get it back. But we didn't quite see that today. And of course, it didn't play him into any kind of strengths, and he came off.
I feel like he's probably the type of person that puts that pressure of trying to be like Bruno himself as well.
Me too.
Yeah, I think.
Me too.
Yeah, he believes in himself, and you can see that.
I'm fine with
Cunha,
that though.
yeah, sorry,
I'm
yeah,
fine. I'm fine with that.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
fine with that as well. Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. And he's got the ability to, maybe not as much as Bruno, but he has got similar ability or skill level to Bruno on
I mean,
his
we
day.
got to
Of
remember this is a Mason Mount who's won the Champions League,
course, yeah.
right? This is a Mason Mount who did
Got the
fairly
assist
well
in that
for
final as
England,
well. Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so I think that unfortunately he's starting to show that he's made of glass,
Mm.
which which is horrible timing because he was really starting to get back into his perfect form. So hopefully it's not too bad. Hopefully it's just like a contact knock, and they just wanted to take it easy for him. But I'm sure they'll come out with something this weekend about it.
It's also, I feel like the second time in the last 5 games that he's either come off injured or missed a game in that 5 game period. So it's a classic Mason Mount since he's been at United, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it seems like we just have that bad Paul Pogba juju still. That just the curse. It just feels like we still have a few things to
Yeah,
right to get that thing lifted, so that way we can keep a lot of these guys healthy a lot
yeah.
longer.
Just when we have like signs of hope or a glimpse of hope, it just kind of gets taken away from us again.
By ourselves, by our own doing. Yeah, and
Literally,
that's the hardest part as a fan right now. But I
yeah.
digress.
Cunha, I thought had a few nice touches in the first half. Overall, a bit disappointing, maybe.
I think so. I mean, I want to stop seeing this Wolves mentality of I've got the ball, move out of my way. I'm going to take on these 4 Newcastle defenders, and I'm going to lose it, and you need to go get it back from me. I'm
Yeah,
tired of that.
yeah.
Personally, there's been a lot of moments where I'm going to think back to his first game against Arsenal, beginning of the league, had a wonderful long busting run through the midfield, past Saliba and Gabriel, coming up against Raya, lost his legs and just biffed the shot horribly. And I think that gave him the wrong kind of mentality, thinking that he can, if I can make that run against Arsenal, I should be able to make it against everybody. And I think that once he kind of realizes that he's got a lot of quality around him to get the ball back to him, we'll start seeing him continuously using those clever touches that we do see, but we just don't see him often enough in a red shirt.
Agreed. And there's something that you mentioned on WhatsApp, I believe. You said that a lot of the time Sesko's making these runs. Even you mentioned it now, Mount didn't find him. Sesko makes a lot of runs, but we're so incapable of finding our striker for the last few seasons, it feels like.
Unless your name's Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is frustrating.
Really frustrating. I'm sure the strikers that we've had, even now, Sesko, must feel so frustrated. And it gets to a point where they probably don't make those runs as much because they're not expecting it. And then you're in like a vicious cycle where it just gets worse and worse for the striker who's not going to score goals because he's not making the runs anymore because the players aren't trying to find him. And Cunha was probably guilty of that today as well.
I completely agree. And there's a lot of times where Sesko does make the wrong run. Right?
Yeah.
He's like, what, 20, 21 years old?
Yeah.
He is going to make the wrong runs, right? But as a striker, you got to be getting across the near post. You got to be getting across the goalkeeper. You can't just be hoping for the cutback all the time because you're just taking space away from your midfielders, right? Your runs have to be unbelievably unselfish as a striker for this club. I mean, look at the likes of Rooney, Tevez, and Ronaldo back in the day. So many times, one of them would start the play, and then by the time that we scored a goal, they would be 80 yards from it because that they started it and they were able to find the touches with the rest of the team to move them on, and they didn't have to worry about it. Whereas it seems like us, we don't take those right kind of touches. We don't make the right decisions whenever we have the time and space to do so. We just overcomplicate it all the time. And
Agreed.
I think that our strikers are hurt the most by that kind of play style mentality that we've had the past 3-4 years.
I think Sesko overall wasn't great either. His hold up play wasn't great today, especially in the first half. He gave the ball away. It was quite loose with his touches. He had that shot that hit the bar. Unfortunately, got taken off straight away.
I mean, there's plenty. I liked how he held up the ball. I didn't like how long he held on to the ball, which is incredibly important because you have you have the likes of your outside backs trying to push forward, and you have your center backs, your center mids checking to you to play it back to them so that they can play that through ball. But that only works if you bring the ball down and you play it to your center back. It doesn't work if you bring the ball down and you take 6 touches.
Yeah.
Right? You're swarmed, you can't find a pass, and the next thing you know, our outside backs are out of position and our center mids are out of position. We saw that plenty in the first and the second half. So I think hopefully they get into that film room and they show him and they tell him, ball to the ground, play it back, or play it around the
Sharper.
corner.
He's got to be
Sharp.
sharper.
You cannot be thinking, okay, chest it, it's down, now what? It has to be the decision has to be made before you even have that ball to your chest.
Definitely. All right, Henry, that's pretty much the Newcastle Wolves game. United Newcastle game. We've got Wolves next, which is what I was going to say.
Yep.
I feel like I don't really know what to expect at this point still.
I know what to expect. I fully expect 45 minutes of really good football where me and you are texting, we're like, fuck, where's this been? And then we're going to have a lovely 15-minute tea break. And then we're going to come back and we're going to see probably the worst 45 minutes that we'll ever see. And
Yeah.
I hate that inconsistency has become so consistent.
Mhm.
Because that's a Wolves team with 2 points. And granted, we did beat them 4-1. We did not look that good. No. Granted, we're now at home.
Was it 4-1 or was it 4-2, by the way?
Ooh.
Was it
Did they score 2 on us? I can't remember.
I can't remember.
Some fan I am.
No, I think you're right. I might be wrong.
I can't remember. I thought it was 1-4.
It was 4-1. I just checked.
Yeah. Okay.
My bad.
So, like, I think if we have the same kind of tenacity that we showed the first 45 minutes, it should be 3-0 at half. We go into the half, and then we can play poorly. I don't care after that point, right? But it's one of those things where Old Trafford doesn't seem to have that same breath about it anymore. It seems like I've liked a lot of our performances away from home this year, whereas I've seen a lot of performances at home where I think of you and I'm just like, God, I hope he's not at this game.
Bro, it's been tough. I've actually avoided it as much as I could this year, actually.
And how does that make that cannot make you feel good?
No, I would love to be going there every week, driving up there 4 hours, watching United win. Not even a United win necessarily, but a United performance I can be proud of. Yeah.
Entertainment. I can't remember the last time that I was entertained. Okay, no, 4-4 Bournemouth, entertaining. But I can't remember the last time that I looked at my clock and I said, yes, the lineups are out. Now it's, oh God, the lineups are out. Right? And I
honestly,
I hate that. I do. Yeah. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. But I believe that if we're finally seeing a turn of mindset from Ruben, that we're finally going in the right direction with him. But if we had seen no difference in our team selection and formation today, then we would have had a much different performance, and me and you would be having a much different conversation.
Agreed. But yeah, maybe hopefully things are going in a new direction. He has changed things for the first time in a long time. We have looked slightly better throughout periods of the last few games. But yeah, that's United. Just quickly, Henry will run through the Premier League games. We won't spend too long on it in the next day. Forest are playing City. What do you think? Any predictions?
Call me crazy, but I like Sean Dyche getting a draw out of this at Forest. I mean, as we said,
12:30 kickoff as well, London time. Sorry.
Yeah, it's 7:30 for us here. I'll be up for it. But
mad man.
I'm a big hate watch guy. I love hate watching. Oh, it's beautiful. You know, it's Americans. Come on.
Yeah, of course.
And but I like Sean Dyche. He's got 6 clean sheets in his last 12 games with this Forest team. Right? I think that he does a really good job. I mean, his Burnley teams used to be horrible for Pep to go play against. And I doubt that it's going to be any different with the likes of Milinkovic, Murillo, and Nico Williams and Elliot Anderson. You know, I think it's going to be a really difficult game for City. They're going to win. Right? I think City pull it out of the bag because I really don't see any other team being as on top of their form as City are right now.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 1-1, 2-2 kind of performance from Sean Dyche's team.
Yeah, I would agree with you, to be honest. I think it's going to be a tough game for City, but I do
Mhm.
think they'll edge it in the end, especially the way Haaland's moving at the moment. I would say probably 2-1 to City, maybe. Arsenal,
I'd go as far as saying about 3-1.
yeah, makes sense.
Holland with a brace, Cherokee or Doku with a goal as well.
Makes sense completely.
Yeah.
Arsenal, Brighton, Arsenal at home. I don't think Brighton have been that great this season, have they? If I'm not
Arsenal are at
mistaken.
home.
Yeah, Arsenal at home. Brighton are ninth, to be fair, 24 points, only 5 points behind us. Game in hand.
That's going to be a game that Arsenal are going to really enjoy playing because Brighton love to take it to you.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
They give you space to run into. Granted, Arsenal have not looked very good.
Mm.
I mean, they didn't score a single goal from open play against Wolves.
Yeah.
Right? They scored a penalty against on their last outing. Right? And then they they didn't get any kind of free open play goal from their game against Crystal Palace in the Carabao Cup. Right? They had to rely on a Lacroix own goal.
Own goal.
Another own goal.
Went to
And I
penalties as
mean,
well to get through.
you can do. I understand that a lot of people will say you have to have a champion's mindset and champions grind out wins. I agree with that to the extent of you still do all the things that are required of you to prevent the other team from scoring. Whereas I don't really feel that Arsenal are that strong defensively right now with a lot of the injuries that they're starting to get in the midfield and in their center backs. So I think Brighton can go out and try to take it to them, but in doing so, they're going to leave the door open to Saka and Eze. And I think Arsenal will still pull it out.
I think you made a good point. Arsenal tend to do well against teams that come at them and play football, which
We do too.
Yeah, true. Yeah. We've struggled. Arsenal have struggled against teams that sit in a low block, as we do as well.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Whenever I was in Houston, we played against Austin FC a few times, and their coaches eventually got to the point where their line of confrontation was about 6 yards outside of the 18-yard box. They would have 11 kids back in between that ball and the goal, and it is unbelievably difficult from a player's point of view to find those gaps and get around that kind of low block pressure. But at the end of the day, I think Arsenal will be thankful that they're going to be coming up against Brighton tomorrow, and they'll be just fine.
Call me crazy, but I know the missus is watching this and she's an Arsenal fan, so are her family. So I'm going to say Brighton are going to win 3-1 at the Emirates.
Come on, Brighton. Come on.
Up the Seagulls. Come on.
Seagulls, baby. I'll go to the South Coast. I'll go to the South Coast tomorrow, and I'll be there with blue and white on, man.
Shout out the missus. Liverpool Wolves. Liverpool 2-0. Ekatike 2 goals.
Yeah, I mean, you saw Isak broke his leg.
Yeah, crazy actually. Just after he scored, yeah.
That's kind of, I mean, as a football fan, that sucks. But as a United fan,
that's great.
It's kind of brutal, but I think Liverpool will be fine.
Yeah,
it's Wolves.
I think they'll be all right.
Chelsea
Villa, that's a decent game, I reckon.
Come on, villains.
Yeah,
please.
And they've been on great form as well.
Beautiful form. I think if they play like they played against us, I don't think that they'll get all 3 points. But if Chelsea play like they played against Leeds, Villa are going to have a great day.
I also feel like Chelsea are really inconsistent. Sorry, what was you going
to say? Are they at Stamford Bridge?
Stamford Bridge, yeah.
Doesn't worry me. I think Villa right now, they're 10 in a row, 11 in a row.
I think it's 10 in a row, yeah.
God, man, Frank could have cut his hair twice if he was a Villa fan, dude. That's brutal, bro. That's brutal, bro.
Oh my God, I haven't seen that guy in a while, actually.
Yo, I know. Can somebody make a wellness check on him? I mean, I would be tired of that. I'd be tired of that content too if I'm him. You know, I mean, you're 400 days in. Christ, love you, Frank, if you do see this, but we love you, man. I think Chelsea are super inconsistent, and we're tied on points with them, and supposedly having a really tough time this year. And Maresca is doing all this good stuff for them.
I still hear nothing about him.
Nothing. I hear nothing bad about him.
Yeah, nothing bad about him at all. Yeah.
At all. Which, I mean, finally, is the English media changing a little bit? Probably not.
I don't think so.
But I fancy Villa to go in there and honestly be fairly comfortable. But at the end of the day, it really depends on if Enzo and Caicedo cover every blade of grass, which they tend to do. But the games that they don't, Chelsea get beat bad.
Yeah, Villa actually 7 points ahead of Chelsea, level 1 games right now in third.
7?
7 points ahead, actually. Yeah.
And we really need to make sure that Chelsea don't get 3 points.
Yeah,
because Liverpool will probably jump ahead of us tomorrow with a win against Wolves. Chelsea, of course, ahead of us on goal differential, tied on points with us. Them not getting all 3 points will be massive going into match week 19 for us.
I think it would be very united of us to finally win a game to take us into 5th, just for every other team to win around us. I think that would be a classic.
Right, because we've had 3 opportunities the last 4 weeks to create a gap between us and the likes of Liverpool, Chelsea, and all these teams, but I don't know what's being said in the locker room and at training. I think we're trying to be a little bit too relaxed.
Yeah.
And be just too calm, whereas there has to be a little bit of urgency. There has to be.
Yeah. I'm going to leave the rest of the games out. They're not that amazing. If any of my Spurs best mates are watching this, I'm sorry. Just on a final note, Henry, when Amorim took off Martinez in the 85th minute, I was convinced he supports Liverpool. I just want to put that out there.
I will post the receipts if people need them.
I don't think he's a United fan. I'm saying it now. He hates United. That's all I can say.
There have been moments where I'm just like, this guy gets it. This guy actually gets it. And then there's moments where I think that he's the Antichrist, come as the final horseman to ruin United. And it scares me because I'm like, what Ruben am I going to see today?
Yeah.
Am I going to see the Ruben that I wanted at this club, or am I going to see the Ruben that this club is just destroying mentally? So,
just quickly before we end, he did play a lot of the academy plays today. I know he was kind of forced into it, but maybe Martinez and Shaw, he didn't have to take off for Fredrickson, for example.
Yeah.
He did bring on Fletcher. He didn't really have much options.
Fletcher didn't impress me.
No, he didn't, to be honest.
He impressed me more against Villa than he did here. But I think a lot of that comes down to the kind of situation that he was subbed on into. I mean, how do you expect an academy kid to come in and change the game? Granted, we're used to that, right? We are. But I think I'm happy to see them come back. There were a few times where I would see Ruben's team sheet and there wouldn't be an academy kid anywhere near the starting 11. Still on the team sheet, of course, to keep our record. But I'm okay with him being forced into using the academy because that might get him a bit more eyes on these kids. So I don't hate it. I'm not a fan of Fredrickson. I don't think he has it at this top level. He kind of reminds me of like a Tuanzebe.
I think maybe worse than that, to be honest. But yeah.
Maybe an Aaron Wan-Bissaka, maybe. We'll see.
I think a lot worse than that, to be honest.
I don't know.
I'd say more like a McNair or something. I don't know.
Oh, God, that is a throw. That's a name for the streets right there. I love that. I love that. But I mean, it's one thing where like I would much rather see these kids come on into a successful locker room and a successful program. I don't think it does too much for these kids right now to be forced into the Old Trafford lights with a lot of the issues that are kind of going on and off the field. But then again, we have the best academy in the world. I doubt that they won't have the mentality to kind of keep everything separate and compartmentalized. But I would have rather seen Shea Lacey than Fredrickson.
Agreed. All right, guys, there's still 3 of you that are watching us live. Thank you for everyone that's joined throughout the whole time. We didn't get as many live chats this weekend, but that's fine. Hopefully you'll see me and Henry maybe after the run of weekend games. We'll see anyway. Man United have won 1-0 against Newcastle at Old Trafford. After watching this podcast, you probably wouldn't have known, but we have won the game. We have got 3 points. Henry, any final thoughts before we sign out?
Glory, glory, Man United, baby.
Exactly. We're going to be back very soon. I'm talking about United, and me and Henry will, of course, as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully, 21 is coming sooner or later. Signing out. Peace out. Henry, just stay on for a second.